So today's presentation is on living in harmony, practical approaches to cultivating cooperation in life. The objectives of today's presentation is to explore spiritual principles for harmonious living and to do practical exercises demonstrating how to use these spiritual principles. So the Oxford Dictionary, but before I go on, I would like to urge all fratres and sorors to put into practice these spiritual principles that we'll be talking about today. But in general, it is a good practice to just experiment with the spiritual principles and in our daily lives and make your own conclusion. So personally, I find, applying this spiritual principles enriches, it's so rewarding and it enriches my life. And I would like to urge all fratres and sorors and, non-members to experiment with these principles and, make your own conclusion. So I like to think of ourselves as, spiritual researchers, just putting into test spiritual principles and just, coming up with our own, results, making our own conclusions. Okay, so with that said, let's move on. The Oxford Dictionary defines cooperation as the process of working together to the same end. In nature, cooperation can be both innate and learned. We see examples of cooperation that is innate in the cells of the human body. For example, the cooperation between the heart and blood vessels. The heart pumps blood while the blood vessels transport blood throughout the body. This cooperation is necessary so every cell receives the nutrients needed to function. Another example is the body's immune response. Where white blood cells work together to fight infections. They do so automatically without our conscious thoughts. This cell cooperation is necessary to fight against disease and keep the body healthy. Similarly, spiritual cooperation is necessary to live in harmony. Spiritual cooperation is when the objective self works with the spiritual self to attain its evolutionary purpose. Harmony results from such cooperation. Put in other words, harmony is the effect of the objective self working under the impulse of the soul. Fratres and sorors, we understand from our teachings that at birth, the first breath also comes, with the first breath also comes the life force and the soul into the body, which confines upon humans a spiritual dimension. You will agree that humans are dual, comprising of a body, the objective self, with an objective consciousness and a soul. The soul is of cosmic origin, and thus its very nature is creative. It is because of our spiritual makeup that we can create. Our creations must align with the aspirations of the soul so that we are co-creating with the divine. According to the Rosicrucian teachings, in the physical world, we create by one, thoughts. Thoughts are creative. This is because thought is a manifestation, excuse me, just one quick second. Okay. I'll repeat that. According to the Rosicrucian teachings, In the physical world, we create through one, thoughts. Thoughts are creative. This is because thought is a manifestation of consciousness, which is an attribute of the soul. The second way we create is by speech. We create, and this is because speech possesses creative power because it is an expression of our mental and psychic state. I'll repeat that. We create by speech. Speech possesses creative power because it is an expression of our mental and psychic states and conveys through space an energy of equivalent nature. Speech produces sound vibrations which affect the atmosphere and the objects around it. The third way we create is by action. Similar to speech, action is an expression of our mental states and an expression of our will. Left untrained, the desires of the objective self are primarily self-centered and for self-indulgence. Therefore, for harmony to occur, the objective self has to work with the soul. How can we get the objective self to work with the soul? By constructive use of our free will. Free will allow us to choose constructive thoughts, speech, and actions. The free will is the birthright of the divine to each soul, to determine for itself the direction it may take at every given moment. In the material world, our will is either co-creating with the divine or in opposition. Let us review some examples of how we can constructively use our free will. We can constructively use our free will in trials and in cases of excessive worries, fear, and negative thinking by making greater efforts to increase periods of meditation and prayers until the ego understands that our inner aspirations are more powerful. This is not an easy task. However, with our will, we can direct our objective consciousness to dwell on higher truths, reflect, and meditate to attune with the divine. We do not need to concern ourselves with the outcome of our attunement. Our task is to attune our objective consciousness with the higher planes, or higher planes of consciousness. A metaphor for this will be going from a place filled with clusters. Each cluster represents thoughts, worries, and distractions. They're creating in our minds chaos and is going from this place to a place of clarity and understanding. Okay. So the second way we can constructively use our free will is in cases of uncertainty and doubt. And this is by making greater efforts to maintain a mental attitude of certainty and faith. Another way we can constructively use our free will is to make greater efforts to speak and act positively. And another way we can use our constructive will is to refrain from indulging in negative tendencies. I'll repeat that. Another way we can constructively use our free will is to refrain from indulging in negative tendencies that limit the soul's expression, such as pride and intolerance. Know that the only definite way of neutralizing negative tendencies consists of replacing them gradually with their opposite qualities. For pride is the absence of humility, and intolerance, the absence of tolerance. So it is challenging to transmute our negative tendencies. However, every victory elevates our soul personality. So why is it important to constructively use our free will? Why is that? So please note that what we call life is not just for living only, but it's also to make life creative in our daily affairs. Life is creative. This is its very nature. Life is not for self-indulgence nor for self-gratification, for these only bring disappointments. We should endeavor to make a practice of directing the objective self inwards to work with the aspirations of the soul. The expressions of the soul, the expression of the soul's nature, which is creative, is in its motives, in this, which is creative, brings harmony, joy, and blessings. Know that all that materializes first occur in consciousness and are subject to the law of cause and effect. So when we use our will to choose positive thoughts, speech, and actions over negative ones, we benefit positively. And so do the people and the environment around us. Harmony starts in us, and from us, it flows outwards to others and the environment. Also, please know that everything that follows in life is dependent upon that just before. Everything that follows in life is dependent upon that just before. So when we choose positive thoughts, speech, and actions, there is a ripple effect. Know that the creative forces are within the self. And when expressed through us, that is through our thoughts, our words, our actions, there is an overflowing of love, peace, and harmony. Put in other words, when we express constructive energies in our relationships, the energies are creative and are beneficial and benefit us positively. For example, when we show optimism, hope, and grace in our relationships, we benefit positively. So let us now do some practical exercises to show how we can use spiritual principles in our daily, in the things we encounter daily. So the first concept we talked about is life is creative. All that materializes, the second is all that materializes must first occur in consciousness. The third is in creation, everything that follows is dependent on that just before. And the fourth is the creative energies are within self. So I'm going to give a scenario, and we're going to think of a way we can apply all four of these spiritual concepts in approaching the scenario. So this is the scenario. Suppose we encounter an individual who is having challenges with nutrition. And suppose the individual, suppose the individual, there's no way we can know this, but we're just assuming that suppose the individual is in the previous lifetime has chosen to have this challenge of nutrition so as to learn the lesson of the importance of a good nutrition in this lifetime. And we approach to help, to assist. How would you assist, keeping in mind all of these four spiritual concepts we've just spoken about? So I'm going to repeat the question. Suppose we encounter an individual who is having challenges with nutrition. And suppose this individual in the previous lifetime has chosen to have this challenge so as to learn the lessons of the importance of good nutrition. You're approached with this, and how would you assess? Keeping in mind this spiritual concept, this 4 spiritual concepts that we just spoke about. I'll give you a minute to think about that. Okay, so there is not one way to apply spiritual principles. I will share one way that incorporates these 4 concepts which is spoken about. So the action would be to work on our consciousness and attitude towards food, knowing that life is creative, we talked about, and that all that materializes, right, first occurs in consciousness, and that everything that follows, right, in creation is dependent on that just before, and also knowing that the creative energies are within ourselves. So one way to apply this principle in this case would be to work on our own consciousness and attitude, mental attitude towards food. And by so doing, we channel into the earth's vibration, this consciousness, this mental attitude that would help, others, the person and others to attain the lesson of, proper diets and proper nutrition quicker, make it easier to attain this lesson. So in other words, we are dropping in the ocean of consciousness our own consciousness, right, of proper diet and nutrition. That way it's easier, for others in need, for the souls in need of this lesson, of this consciousness, to be able to attain it, right? So because we're all energy in an ocean of energy. So the attitude would be to face our own attitude, mental attitude towards food, right? To, eat properly, eat quality foods. And by so doing, we're putting that energy into the universe. So I hope that makes sense. All right. So with that said, I would we'll do one more, and this we'll do together. So if everyone can write down a relationship that you want to improve. And you can also mentally do this as well. Write down your current mental attitude towards this person or thing. And the key word here is towards, right? We want to be aware of what our expressions, what we are projecting outwards into the planet, into the universe, into consciousness. So what's your current mental attitude towards this person or thing? And now write down the desired attitude, mental attitude that will allow for a harmonious relationship. Now, make a commitment to maintain this desired mental attitude. Predecessors. In conclusion, to live in harmony is to turn our objective consciousness inwards so it communes with our soul and acts according to its impulses. The goal of our spiritual evolution is to learn to commune with our soul. It is by so doing we rediscover our latent perfection and live in perfect harmony. Therefore, we must endeavor to use our will to direct the objective consciousness inwards in our daily lives. Brothers and sisters, let us now proceed to a brief period of meditation. Sit relaxed and close your eyes while taking a few neutral deep breaths. Let us intone the vowel sound Om 7 times. Om. 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 May the sublime essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that we may enter into our celestial sanctums and attune in perfect dignity. So mote it be. Brothers and sisters, proceed to your celestial sanctum. For non-members, the celestial sanctum is a place, as you visualize it, of where we commune with higher planes of consciousness. It could be a temple, a Rosicrucian temple, a beautiful landscape, a sacred, any sacred place, just as you visualize it. However way you visualize your celestial sanctum, please enter it now. Now, visualize in front of you a person who you love. Now, feel this love radiating from you towards this person. See this person bathe in vibrations of love. Now visualize the planet Earth in front of you and send the planet Earth these vibrations of love. See planet Earth bathe in vibrations of love. Feel, see, and feel the whole of humanity benefiting, being regenerated by these vibrations of love. See the whole of humanity rejuvenated by these vibrations of love. Now visualize people with whom we want to improve our relationships. Send them these vibrations of love. See them filled with these vibrations of love, restored, renewed on every level with these vibrations of love. Now visualize your ideal workday. And see everyone you come in contact with. See you working harmoniously with them. When you're done, sit, relax, continue to sit relaxed and receptive to the vibrations you may receive. Remain open to any cosmic impressions you may receive. When you're ready, you may return to wake state. May the cosmic sanctify our contact with the celestial sanctum. So mote it be. Fratres and Sorors, this brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you for attending. Peace profound.